Okay, so this is the live thing. Yeah. Of course, if you're viewing it on another screen, you have to mute it. Otherwise, there will be feedback loop.
Yeah. The way about that, yeah, I used to run a number of all this training, okay, involving multiple screen, multiple laptop.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just get very irritated by all this feedback.
Yeah, when the first time I was doing it, I mean, I'm not exactly that familiar with video, so I got really confused why there would always be this ghost loop. Then turns out it's because I was playing back to see whether it works or not, right? And then the sound kept going into the mic.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. So once again, we are back every week on this business chat. Okay, casual chat.
I'll think of it more as a business. So I think the branding part, we'll get to it later. Once we have a better idea of where the thing flows naturally. I think right now it's still more of, I don't know about you. I mean, for me, it's more of just trying to get into this discipline of showing up every week, just to keep momentum, and of course get more comfortable talking on air. Yeah, I think that's baby steps for now. I think that's where my headspace is.
Okay.
Yeah.
After 2 years of handling Zoom, through many training session, interviews, and chat room discussion, meetings, whatever you can do with Zoom. Over the last 2 years, I've done most of it, and yeah, sort of getting quite comfortable with doing some of all this live show as well.
I think talking on Zoom isn't really a problem. I think for us, maybe right now it's more of maybe for you have more experience because you're obviously in the training environment. Like for me, right? I mean, a lot of times I'm just a participant, not an active host or not an active organizer of such things, right? So a lot of times I don't really have the burden or responsibility of making sure that the thing runs, or I just show up, people ask questions, and if it's related to my field of expertise, then I'll just chip in. So that's a more passive kind of situation. But I think with this is again right now this is only our second live stream, right? So I think a lot of things is still very vague and malleable. Really depends on where this thing is going. But I think at least for me right now, is to really get into the hang of having the discipline to stick to a session every week, and then to build along that and see what's the natural trajectory of where this is heading. Whether in terms of, is there a certain format that we want to experiment? And again, speaking of experiments, since we're going to be going with it, week after week, right? If we have any ideas that we want to experiment, this is the best platform. Yep. In fact, this morning, I was just thinking, right? Maybe for the next round, right? Do we have friends or business associates where we get that person to come in and just share about their business?
Can, no problem. I think there's plenty of opportunity. I think between you and me, we definitely have a lot of contacts who have interest to showcase their business, but at the same time, okay, share with the general public what they are good at, and not just what they are good at, but what problem are they solving. So with that in mind, I think I do believe there's a lot of our friends, business associates, okay, will be eager to join us, okay, in such conversation. Yeah. So for today, I think for this week, something interesting which I felt very strongly about that maybe we can put on discussion over the next 2 hours. It can be a little bit sensitive, it can be a little bit touchy, but I think just treat it as a form of discussion. Disclaimer, both of us are not expert, but I think we can share our point of view from a business owner point. From a business owner point of view. The interesting thing about this week, I think I'm quite eager to discuss will be this word integrity. As all of us are aware, 11 trainees lawyer, cheated in exam.
Okay. Yeah.
I have, first of all, I don't 100% put the blame on them. That is something that I put my stand on. While a lot of people, I do believe majority of people put 100% blame on these 11 undergrad lawyers. I do take the approach, not 100% are their fault. I think while the punishment, to delay their admission to bar, will be 6 months to a year, and hope we are not heard anything about the latest fight yet. But I think something that, from business owner angle, there's a couple of questions I would like to throw out for us to do some discussion. The first, as a business owner, and if we know that this particular lawyer in the past have some of these such cases before, how will we deal with that? That's probably the first question. Second, how do we view integrity in the area of business? Now, this seems to be a common sense question, but it carries a lot of weight. Sometimes, I think in business, we do know of people who short of integrity. Yet they are pretty successful. So something for us to discuss about this general topic about integrity. So what's your view, Elva?
I actually didn't really catch the this report on the lawyer thing. I mean, I know which one you're referring to, but I just didn't go too in depth into it.
Probably let me give the background story first. Now, lawyers are required to pass this bar exam for them to practice law in Singapore.
Sure.
It's almost like a final year exam. You have to go through 8 days of exam. You need to clear so many papers, and moreover, the last 2 years we are in this COVID situation. Virtual examination have been a common things put in place in replacement of physical exam halls, physical exam. Now the thing is, with this black swan event, all of us are learning how to do things in the right manner or in the most suitable manner. So that naturally some of these education institutions are also learning to cope with virtual exam organization, administration, and at the end of the day, how do you make sure that you don't compromise the integrity of the exam, while also make sure that the student don't caught in a situation whereby they are not able to do what they need to do for exam. For example, then open book. For example, open book, I think that's in my own personal point of view. For open book, I think there is no fixed answer in the first place. There are suggestive answer, and therefore, as long as we fit in majority of the suggestive answer, I think more or less we should be able to get the marks. Okay. Now, having said that, okay, be in the virtual environment, okay, there are things we can do that the view cam will not be so effective. For example, I can actually write my all these important concept and principle, right, okay, on the wall behind my laptop, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, whereby in front of me, okay, even with the webcam is on, I still able to see the important concept and principle and make sure that are able to actually use it at the most appropriate time to answer the questions. Nothing stops us from doing that. Okay, first of all, what is the essence of the open book question? It's about application, right? Open book exam is actually about application. It's not reciting memory. Okay, it's about applying all the concept and principles. So make sure that when there's a particular case, how do you apply your knowledge and appreciate the knowledge through such implementation. So they may not be 100% right, 100% wrong, but more or less there could be some suitable, suggestive answer to tackle that particular questions. Now, unlike exam that require you to use your memory to extract information, then I think virtual environment you may have to be really strict with such requirement for the exam, especially in a virtual whereby you are your own invigilator. Yeah, so integrity play a significant part. Now, my point about this thing is, first of all, in a virtual exam environment, I know some education institution, like for example NTUC, LHub, they actually implement software. So make sure that even the virtual background, you have to off it and make sure that nobody walk past you. Okay, so this is some of the strict requirement. And you can't even message. And obviously, when you message a phone, it's pretty obvious. Even you do it very subtly, like sometimes you can tell. Okay, so but I'm quite surprised a couple of things. Probably the exam administrator did not do it. Okay, is to think more thoroughly how to make sure that the exam is secure. Okay. But if you're talking about open exam, something that I will be quite. It is an open book exam, whereby I need to refer to concepts that okay, I feel that okay, the student may be at lesser fault, because end of the day it's all about application of concept. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I really didn't go into I really didn't read into the detail of the incident. So was it what? It's a virtual bar exam.
Yeah, it's a virtual bar exam due to COVID situation. So
yeah, but the fact that the fact that those people were found out to be cheating means that they aren't too bright at doing it, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, they are using WhatsApp to message the potential answer just to as a more like a group discussion per se. So which is I don't know whether did the exam administrator highlight this or it was conveniently forget about this thing. So because it's open book exam, it's as though that I'm having a group discussion. Do you see where I come from?
Yeah, I suppose I think it's not so. At the end of the day, I think it's just whether the rules of the game have it been broadcast or communicated clearly. Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. If I wouldn't even go so far to say that it's a problem with integrity. If it's a business thing, probably yes. But if you're just talking about specifically this incident, right? Again, we are in extraordinary times, and certain things are being done as an exception rather than a routine or a rule. So the people who administer it, like you said, they might not have put in too much thoughts into it, and that could be where the problem is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so I would say that it really boils down to, are the rules of engagement properly communicated? If the rules of engagement are properly communicated, and then the students still do the things that they are not supposed to do, then of course there are consequences.
Yes.
You can't run away from it.
Yeah.
But I think if you talk about the idea of integrity in a larger context, if you put it into business, right, it's a very tricky thing. It's a very murky area. Integrity on its own, I mean, we used to think, in simpler times, you might think that integrity is an objective virtue. It's just right or wrong. There's no gray. But you realize that the problem is a lot of people have different definition of what integrity means.
Yep.
Yeah. And you talk about business, right? I mean, we don't need to talk about other places. We just talk about within the developed countries, right? Like the US. The way an American looks at integrity is very different from the way we look at integrity. Whether is it Singaporean or Malaysian or Chinese, the way we look at integrity is very different.
Yep.
Right? You just look at the way for example, how Americans do business, right? A lot of it centers around making the deal. The emphasis is on making the deal. And to achieve that objective, sometimes certain things are overlooked. Right? Because to them, a deal is the end result. It might not be the same as how, for example, a Singaporean look at it. For example, how a Middle Eastern person look at it. Right? For example, if you talk about someone in the Middle East, right? A deal is not a deal. A deal is a relationship. So they will have the relationship first before they talk about the deal. Americans can make deals with the devil any day, any time of the day, any day of the week. And even for, let's say, us, we are in Asia, because of our values, we don't necessarily make deals with the devil. Some do, but we don't necessarily do that easily, right? But again, within Asia itself, how Singaporeans do business versus how Malaysians do business versus how Vietnamese, Thai people do business is also very different, right? The different level of integrity, right? Like there are some other neighboring countries, the way they do business is as long as they can get it through, right? But to us, it could be an integrity issue.
Yep.
Right? So we might not understand it, but for them, they don't find any problem with it because that's their way of life. They're born into that system. They're born into that environment. Right?
Yeah.
So certain things, what is, to put it bluntly, certain things that are considered bribery to us is just a means of convenience for a lot of people in other places because that's the culture they live in.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think integrity is actually a malleable thing. I think when you talk about things like that, it's very difficult to judge and say, whether a person has integrity or not, or whether there's something fundamentally wrong with the integrity of this relationship or arrangement. It really depends on from which angle you come in. I think more importantly is if you yourself are not comfortable, then don't go into it because you're only answerable to yourself, right?
Yep. So that's why integrity is something that I also personally feel that as much as possible, I expect every single transaction, every single deal is of the highest honor. You promise this, Okay, I promise that to deliver that. Okay, let's honor the agreement integrity. However, over the years, I also noticed that it's not so easy, okay, to enforce at some point of time in some countries lah. I will not name the countries.
Again, this also goes back to a cultural difference. In certain countries, in certain markets, right, saying yes to whatever the clients ask for, right, has no bearing on promise. It's just inbuilt into their culture that when people ask them something, they say yes as a form of conversation, as a form of it does not mean that they are promising you something.
Yeah.
So that is in itself a cultural difference. And if you think that, oh, because they say yes to it and they are promising you, and then later they don't do it and then you get angry, right? I mean, we might be thinking that we are valid from our point of view, but to the other party, it simply could be, it's their culture to say yes to everything.
Yeah, correct. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's very difficult to put a definite answer to it. It's very difficult to actually scope it, if you will, because everybody just have a different way of looking at it.
Okay, good. Yeah, so this is something that we need to be mindful. Okay, as much as we expect integrity based on our own term, we cannot assume the other party have the same definition of integrity in their term. So this for business owners doing to us. Okay, I think okay, we just need to be mindful. Okay, communication is still key, like what Elva had mentioned. Okay, pertaining to the 11 Chinese lawyer case. I think if the communication was not clear, there bound to be assumption set. There bound to be expectation hidden, which we unknowingly step into a minefield. Yeah. So on the 11 Chinese lawyer, as part of I personally think that while that's how I mentioned, not 100% may not be 100% their fault, but at the end of the day, as a student, as much as possible, okay, you are expected to know what you're doing. Okay, and being a graduating class, you're not a PSLE little kids. So I think that the oath on the behavior, okay, on the right behavior is on them. Okay, you know what you need to do. Okay, you know what was right and wrong.
A lawyer will tell you that it's not about right or wrong, it's about how you interpret it.
Good. That's how end of the day we talk about communication and expectation.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Which that's something that I think we just need to be mindful, remind ourselves as business. Okay. We need to be very, very clear on the expectation and communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what would we like to actually talk about next?
I think something I always felt that, given this kind of live stream, something will just pop up along the way. Since there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, surely as we ramble on, something will come along.
Yeah, too many craziness. Right now, if you're talking the Russian-Ukraine case, many people are going to India to pay a visit.
What, politically or what?
It's politically, many people head to India to pay Moody a visit. Yeah.
I mean, it's a smart play for them, but I don't know.
Well, again, we are not here to judge anyone. Okay, it's a kind of you're walking on thin ice, so need to be very careful how to manage the political scene. I think this is something that most political leaders are quite careful about playing their cards.
I'm more interested to like this war thing, right? Who's feeling the impact in business? I'm honestly not sure. I don't feel it, or I don't feel like a lot of it.
I thought you feel it.
I feel it with the food
food.
increase, but it's not like end of world kind of. And I think most I spoke with a few people who are associates who are also in the F&B. Yeah, I mean the ingredient cost, raw cost goes up 20 to 30% all across the board. So in that sense, I'm a bit lucky because the rest of my cost has not increased. I only have one or two particular item having cost increase, so still not a big issue for me. But I noticed that a lot of supplies are getting delayed.
Yeah. I think the logistics chain are feeling it.
Yeah.
Actually, that is long before this thing. It just happened. This Russian-Ukraine war it just accelerate the pain. Yeah, as a catalyst. So, well, I think everybody feel about the oil price. I think everybody talk about the oil price going to JB to pump petrol and get the nerve of the Malaysian government. Okay, I think this is something a no-no. Okay, I think as much as possible, we try not to take advantage of other people's advantage. Yeah. So
wait, that's BS. That's BS.
No. What I mean is that they are.
No, I put it across to you like that.
Okay, I know where it's coming from. Okay, that's why I need to qualify myself. Basically, going over to pump the non-Malaysian pump, right? Okay, I mean, as in the oil pump, the different color one. Okay, the non-Malaysian, because the Malaysian one is the yellow color, if I'm wrong. Then the non-Malaysian are the rest. Okay, to pump the Malaysian, I think that is something is illegal, and I think you just need to be mindful. That's what I meant.
First of all, if Singaporeans are going inside and pumping at a station where it's reserved for Malaysian and there's a law for it and it's illegal for us to do it, right? And
that's what I meant. Okay, so try. I mean,
it's not about try or not. It's an illegal thing. Why would you want to go to another country and do illegal things?
There will be people trying lah. Okay, that's why it's just out of courtesy, being diplomatic. Just remind Singaporeans.
No,
please don't do that.
I totally do not agree with your position on this. Simply because, right, if it's a law thing, if it's an illegal thing, if the Malaysian government has explicitly stated that non-Malaysians cannot pump that particular label of petrol, right? It's not about try or not. It's just bloody illegal, right? It's the same as you bring drugs into Singapore. It's illegal. It's not about you don't try you please I mean, there's no gray area to that fact. It's black and white. You do something illegal, you kena. It's not so much about the social negativity or what. It's just plain wrong because it's illegal, right? There's no quarrel about it. If you're saying that Singaporean cars are going in and hogging all the petrol station and pumping more petrol, that the Malaysian cars are not getting enough petrol to pump, that's a debatable subject altogether.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but if you're talking about Singaporean cars are specifically going to the cheaper reserve petrol pump, right? That's a black and white illegal thing.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
true. Okay, so yeah, there's too many of such.
No, but I do believe I mean, other than those who are clearly illegal, I think a lot of the noise is just unnecessary nationalistic fervor. Again, like I said, would you rather we don't pump petrol at Johor, and
Of
then
course,
by
we are not
extension,
stopping that.
don't even come in to visit Johor and spend money. Are you sure that's what you guys want? No,
No,
right?
that one definitely no. I
Yeah.
think,
So you take the bad with the good, right?
yeah.
You take the bad with the good. Right? It's just like, right. It's just like, again, reflecting on ourselves, right? It's just like, dear Singaporeans, do you want to be road sweeper? Do you want to be cleaners? Do you want to go and serve in the F&B? No, right? Then we hire foreigners, right? Foreigners come from places far and wide. They have different cultures, they have different habits. Then you bear with it, lah. You complain, then you go and do it. But if you're not interested in doing those things, then you want other people to, clear after you, right? Then you also have to accept, the implication that comes with it, lah. Correct.
Yeah, definitely.
To me, it's a very simple thing.
It's yeah lah. If you don't want to do it, then if people will do it, just have to actually bear with it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Nothing much to argue about. Okay. Yeah. But
a lot of people like to argue about it, which I think is very stupid.
Just like what a celebrity was mentioning about Singaporean like to complain. Well, I don't disagree with him. Okay.
Your name was a celebrity, like, okay, fine.
Yeah, former celebrities. Okay. Actually, he's still acting, well. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't bother with this kind of entertainment.
Okay. But then coming back, sometimes I also wonder a question that I always wonder: Are we a victim of our own success? Okay.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Apparently, okay, my experience yesterday, what happened was it was only a 5-minute queue.
Yeah.
Okay, for me to reach to, for the person behind me to reach to the counter to request for something.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So most Singaporeans will quite patiently wait until his or her turn to do whatever he need to do. However, this gentleman behind me, a senior, okay, apparently he get very annoyed, very irritated for how come he need to wait so long and to get things done. How come everybody is moving so slow? So it was ranting about this thing, okay, behind me. So end of the day, I think everybody was kind of ignoring him. Okay, it's just a very short queue. I think it's understandable. Sometimes one or two in front of us need a little bit more time to clear the things. So it was a bit impatient, but that actually triggered me to think, okay, that are we a victim of our own success? Singapore has become so efficient, so effective, to the point that we became very impatient with just a 5-minute wait or 5-minute queue. And interestingly, that also make me ponder into another issue. There are people wait for 2 hours just to buy donuts, just to buy wanton mee, okay, just for Omega watch, okay. So where's the indicator? Where's the, where do we actually note ourselves based on or remind ourselves, right, for being patient? You see where I'm coming from? Yeah.
I think it's two separate things. You're talking about the impatient part, right? Okay. Just the impatient part alone, there's a few different layers. I mean, it's not necessarily scientific or empirical. It's really more of just personal observation. I think generally it's because our environment is high stress. Typically, I'm sure there's some studies into it, but I'm not a behavioral science person. I don't know the actual science behind it, but I mean, I look at it as generally in a high stress environment, right? People tend to be more impatient. It's just something that exhibits itself. Today, if you go to a place like Malaysia, you go to a place like Vietnam, you go to, let's say, Mongolia, you won't have this fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? You go to, like, you know, you go to 一个放羊的地方, you won't have this problem. You go to New Zealand, you won't have this problem. Right?
Yeah.
Because stress creates a distortion of how you view time. So that is a large problem. Okay, so it's not just that gentleman, you know, whether young or old or whatever. You see this problem in a lot of the car accidents, a lot of the road rage that we have. Now it's not even road rage anymore. People are taking knives and parang, samurai sword, and slashing people already. All right, I think just
and also that's also talking about that. There's this last few days there are people got knocked down at traffic junction due to I think some impatient driver.
Yes.
And also impatient driver who drove past a little kid or almost knocked him down. So the thing is that even I myself experienced that at the road junction. Obviously, I had the right of way to cross the road. And before I even crossed to that part of the road, the car just drove past in front of me.
Yeah.
So
no, these days, right? I never assumed that I had the right of way.
Yeah, correct. So at the same time, I also experienced the moment I pass the part of the 3-lane road, immediately the car just go off behind me. So I think that's where I was sharing with my wife. Is everybody rushing somewhere nowadays?
No. Everybody is rushing somewhere. The problem is they don't know where they are rushing to, because I mean, I experience it myself. I am on both sides of this experience, because there are certain days when I drive, right? I do want to get to my destination faster. Not to the point that I will drive recklessly, but you do want to get to a place faster. Like I think subconsciously, again, I think it speaks to the high stress environment that we are in. Probably, I don't know what we are stressed about, honestly, but I think in a high stress environment, the reluctance to spend time on non-productive activities such as traveling, right, or waiting, or driving, right, is very heightened up.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the mood to enjoy the moment. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I cannot call it enjoy the moment. I'm also on both sides of the spectrum as well.
But
I mean, as a driver, I will, even this person could be the last person crossing the road, right? I also need to make sure no cyclists suddenly just go just zoom out of nowhere on both sides.
But have you noticed, right? If you're not rushing somewhere, if you're not making an appointment, if you're just driving for the sake of just driving leisurely, right, your driving speed is slower.
Okay, fair enough. The one
so my point is,
accept that.
Yeah, my point is, you know, so the level of stress, the level of tension, right, does distort our perception of time. So I think this is probably a problem in a cosmopolitan city like Singapore. I believe, I'm not sure, but I suppose there are some other cities, if they are more cosmopolitan than us, probably they will also have this kind of high stress level, maybe.
Yeah, I think can see from Hong Kong as well. Can see from I was in Tokyo. Tokyo not that bad. Paris not that bad. London not that bad.
No, Paris obviously won't. I mean, they can have 2-hour tea break then before they stroll in. There's no stress there. Okay. Nobody should feel stress in Paris. Come on, it's fucking Paris.
Sydney not that bad. Okay, Jakarta is Jakarta, Bangkok is a standstill. You can't even move at all.
Jakarta is resigned to it.
Yeah,
You're
you can't
resigned
even
to it.
you
Three
can't even
hours
move.
on 3 hours on the road is a resigned fact. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, which I was. The last time I went to Jakarta, airport to my hotel, 3 hours.
Yeah,
There.
I can understand. I can understand. Because I was in Jakarta before a couple of years back. I have to make sure that I don't get delayed or being late for my flight. So I actually go to my airport, right? Okay, much earlier than any other people. So when I was there, just enjoying my coffee before my flight.
True. That's the whole thing, long.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, if we are in a rush, if we're in a high stress situation, our concept of time or our vision of time has start to shorten, and we feel that we need to run instead of a walk.
Yeah.
We,
But that's different from those people who queue up for however long for whatever things, right? That one is simply wrong usage of time. I mean, I personally have no sympathy or I have no affinity to that kind of thing. I think it's just plain stupid.
okay, that's why I seldom queue up for food. Okay, I only choose those weird time that hopefully the food is still around. Okay, I'm able to actually buy with a shorter queue, not a 2 hour queue.
I
Buy
never
two.
I never queue up. I see the zhap cai peng got long queue, I buy bee hoon. I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
the bee
same
hoon
here,
got
same
long
here.
queue, I buy roti prata.
Yeah, same here.
Food is food.
That is my default mode of operation.
Yeah.
Okay, however, it happened to a place that happened to be, I not purposely go there to eat that particular, happened at this particular, at any particular place that happened to pass by, and happened that my friend or wife say, hey, this one is the famous one. Or is it, how come no queue? Okay, not much queue there, I go and queue. Also, if I have to wait for 2 hours, that's crazy. I won't want to wait 2 hours for any food.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot understand it.
Yeah, it make no sense to me. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me to
okay.
I mean, if you're retired, if you're nothing to do, if you're a tourist, okay lah, fair lah. But normal day-to-day life, seriously, no, hell no.
Yeah, no, not. I mean, there's a lot other better usage of time.
Yep, that's probably so.
Yeah, definitely. It's not probably so. That's definitely yes. Yeah, definitely. We only have 24 hours. Sometimes looking at the recent news about this chef, I think there's this chef passed on at age 40. I think
Really?
yeah, there's a famous chef from one of the famous restaurant in Singapore passed on at age 40, Japanese restaurant. So yeah. So that's why sometimes I also feel that why stress ourselves up? Sometimes when time is up, it's time is up. So as much as possible, try to accomplish what we need to accomplish or what we aim to accomplish. Okay, with the amount of time we left on earth as soon as possible. Yeah.
I told you previously about my intention to hard retire
Yeah.
in 3 years' time, right? So, and obviously this COVID thing has a very large impact on the way I think about business life, happiness. So I mean, the whole mindset is still evolving, I would say, but it does have a very significant impact because right before the start of COVID, I have a very different idea of where, at least on the business side, where I want to go. Now it's very different compared to the plans that we had before COVID. I think the fundamental thing, like what you say, is I have now very different weightage for different things in life compared to 2 years back.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's less of relentless pursuit of certain form of success indicators, if you will. I think right now the most significant success indicator I'm trying to go after is probably happiness. I think I value the state of happiness, the state of being stressless as top priority right now. Yeah.
I think once you reach a certain stage of life, once you reach a certain stage or age or stage of life, whichever come earlier, perception of our own life will change. Okay, and of course that will come with value system, that will come with belief system, that will come also with what's going on in our life. Okay, some people change the whole entire view of life, due to sickness. Okay, I think a couple of months back, I think last year, there's this lady diagnosed with cancer and passed on. I think at age 27 or 28. Yeah, she just want to be happy over that short period of time. Okay, and she want to share some of her ideas, okay, to help people who are also suffering the same fate as her. I think this is something quite a norm. Okay, when some of us gone through some big major changes in life or situation, our perception of life, value and belief will change. And with that, we may take on a different path. Yeah. And how we see things, how we see people will change. And I do believe last 2 years, many people have probably taken a step back and reflect and relook into their life. And that's how you probably heard about the great resignation, okay, which I doubt it happened in Singapore. Okay, I think the
Singapore is a great retrenchment. A lot of people didn't want to resign. A lot of people got let go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why when people talk about great resignation, I say I don't think it will happen in Singapore.
I mean, rather than saying great resignation, right? I think a more appropriate way to look at it is the great realignment. People are realigning.
That is a better word.
Realigning what are the priorities in life, right?
Yeah, that's a better word.
Like again, speaking for myself, I'm not saying that material achievements are not important. We do live in a materialistic world. We do need to have money to survive. We do need to have a certain level of reserves to be able to go into retirement or make sure that we are prepared for rainy days and things like that, right? But beyond that, right, you start to realize that, or rather, I start to realize that some superfluous pursuit of material success is probably not as important right now. It may seem important 2 years ago, probably doesn't seem that important right now. Yeah. Is it really that important to make enough to buy a fancy car? Maybe not so much these days. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
Yeah. So is it really that important to build a very large business and feed 500 people, but you every day feel very stressed about trying to sustain enough business to feed 500 people?
Yeah.
Maybe you will be regarded as a very successful business person, but maybe that kind of adulation is not worth the trouble. Yeah. So the weightage becomes very different. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of realignment in thinking, realignment in terms of values.
I think this is a major stop button or pause button for the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Okay. For everybody to really take the opportunity to really reflect upon what exactly you want. Of course, not everybody has the luxury to look, to reflect and relook. Okay, across the world. Okay, some are fighting for survival. Okay, during the last 2 years. Some are already in a life and death situation. So of course, these are unfortunate time. But for those of us who have the luxury to really slow down, pause, and rethink about our future path, I think we should actually treasure it as a valuable opportunity that the whole world stop. Yeah, this is the first time I think the whole world stop. Okay, in our lifetime. Yeah, stop. And how many of us will have an opportunity to have the whole entire housing estate, right? Okay, nobody is going out. Okay, everybody locked up in our own units. Okay, I don't think going down the futures we have that opportunity. Okay, quote, okay, to have that. I think this is also a time
Oh, okay.
whereby
I hear what you're saying, but you know what's the scary part?
what a scary one.
I think this is just the first of many to come.
Well, at least we are experienced.
No, yeah, I mean the only consolation is I don't know about other countries, but maybe for us, we have it's not the best, but at least there's an SOP.
Yeah.
So if it does come to the point where the measures need to re-escalate, lockdown needs to be implemented, right? At least there's an SOP to follow, right?
Yeah.
You can grumble about it, but there's an SOP to follow. But my pessimistic side is telling me that I don't think this is over. I don't think this is the last.
Even if it's not over, at least somehow I think our lifetime we experience a sudden stop. Okay, then the next stop, right, maybe less painful mentally,
we are just
physically and emotionally.
we are just, I mean, again, we are just a few months. No, scratch that. We are just a few weeks and some stupid decisions away from World War III. It's not a fantastical idea at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, granted, it's unlikely to engulf the entire world. I mean, to be perfectly honest, we will call it World War III because it's significant enough, but it is unlikely to engulf the entire world. Simply because Asia don't give a rat's ass about it. So we'll try to isolate ourselves, as much as possible from whatever is happening. But there is also this thing that's coming up right now whereby we are technically in a world war. It's just that it is being fought on the financial front.
Yep.
So we are already in a world war. We are fighting using our economy. We are fighting using our markets. So while there's no bloodshed, there's no real bloodshed, there's bloodshed in terms of financial difficulties, there's bloodshed in terms of market loss, inflation, all the monetary problems that's coming in. Yeah, so we are in it. And complicated by the fact that, travel is very limited right now. And when travel is limited, you have trade difficulties. You don't have that ease of access to certain markets, right? And alliances are shifting, partnerships are shifting, all these geopolitical factors also come into play. So it's not exactly, I don't see the sunshine yet. And even if you talk about, the situation in terms of the pandemic might seem to be better for us right now. Doesn't seem so for a lot of other places in the world still. There's still resurgence. Just a while back, US re-implemented the mask mandate on public transport.
You mean Florida, is it? Florida?
Yeah, I can't remember which part of US, but I read about it. And again, now China is just starting to get out of it from that Shanghai lockdown thing. So
Shanghai lockdown, yeah.
That's ridiculous. So something.
Yeah. My friend messaged me from Shanghai.
Yeah.
We check me. Yeah. Oh, okay.
You would not imagine. You would not.
The situation is it's quite bad. compared to reported in the media.
They were saying is hell on earth, no? No,
Okay,
but you
we'll not elaborate much on that.
again, last year, I mean, not say last year, 2 years ago, you can still understand it because when the outbreak first come, but to think that a city like Shanghai, tier 1 city like Shanghai, with all the resources, with all the backing of the government, right? A tier 1 city like Shanghai gets locked down into such a situation 2 years into a pandemic. That tells you that we are nowhere near going out of it.
Just hope for the best.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a long drawn thing. I think it's just another few more years of a very depressed global sentiment. Yeah.
But okay lah, I think we can go to Teo Heng, book a room and get
Oh, that's stupid. You have to sing with your mask on. Are you effing kidding me? That's dumbass.
Sing with your mask. Okay, just
that's the most bullshit thing I've heard lah. Like that's ridiculous lah. I mean, yeah, bo liao one lah.
Well,
but again, all the KTV, all the karaoke right now are fully booked lah. So people are just dying to go out. I think people are just dying for an excuse to go out.
It's just the same thing as when when our crossways been open, everybody dying to chiong to and
I don't get it.
Then come back lah. No.
I mean, I do miss traveling, but like not like dying to fly or dying to go out right now. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Then you go there and then you just go and quiz show with people. It sounds very funny to me. I don't get it lah. I just don't.
Okay, but I think people need that release, of their urge to do something out of Singapore. That's why there's so much of interest, so much of queues, over last weekend, Easter weekend, okay.
All the shopping mall right now are quite crowded.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think according to my Malaysian friend, the shopping mall, because of the last 2 years, a lot of shops closed down, right? So even the shopping mall, right, you go over there, right, also nothing much to shop.
Yeah, a lot are having some problem.
Yeah. So I think wait for a while. Okay, wait for a while.
To kickstart and restart the whole thing takes a while. It won't be so fast also.
Yeah, minimum 3-6 months to actually get everything. Well, I don't call it up to speed, but like what you say, there are still variants moving around. I think at least for some of us who some country already opened up, right? It's well, let's live with it. Okay, it is so unfortunate that the person immune system cannot fight it. Then okay, then it's an unfortunate case. Apparently, a lot of people that I know have recovered from COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, especially last week when I was out for a drink session with my old friends. I would dare to 60% of them have recovered from COVID. The other 40% of us are the minority who have not been diagnosed with COVID yet.
Surprising because given our total cases right now, right, basically one in 5 Singaporeans have COVID at this point already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a norm to actually accept it.
No, but I mean, I don't mind dying a COVID version.
Yeah, of course, nobody expect serious illness happen. Okay, but generally, I think we start to actually accept it that people can recover. So it all depends on the immunity.
Well, again,
immune system.
It always boils down to the immune system.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. I mean, if your immune system is really good, right? If you're like born superhuman, you can be around infected people and you still won't get it. It ultimately boils down to your own immunity. So at the end of the day is just make sure you take good care of yourself.
Yeah.
Keep your
obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think, and this also come down to business, especially when as business owner, okay, we always thinking about business, okay, good and bad, okay, good on the good side is all about getting the business to expand. On the bad side is always trying to make sure that we manage the cost and make sure that we're able to still feed our staff. So on that note, right, okay, it's very important for us to stay healthy. Okay, I think this is something that it acts as a reminder to some of us who actually exercise very little. Okay, so even I myself also remind myself as age as we age, okay, we need to really make sure we take care of ourselves. Yeah.
I mean that's the one thing I keep having problem getting into. I still haven't got myself into a sustainable exercise routine, sad to say. Yeah.
Well, according to some fitness expert, it only take you about 15 to 20 minutes per day, okay, to get your cardio up, get your body radiate some heat. That's good enough. Okay, and you do it maybe twice a day, once in the morning, one in the evening. I think that's about it. So according to some fitness research expert, you just need to do 1 hour of exercise the whole day.
What I
Okay.
did previously, there are a few months back, I did a routine, right? But eventually I fizzled it up. So what happened was, right, I would walk from my house all the way to the Kopitiam Square at Sengkang MRT there, and make one round, go all the way to Seletar Mall, before walking back. Yeah.
Your 10,000 step, is it?
I'm not sure if it's 10,000 steps, but I know that it's one round of walk from making a full circle, because I'm walking, I'm not running, so it usually takes me about 45 minutes. Yeah, so that was but then the rainy thing happened, and then just after a while lazy to get on it again.
Well, I think, well, I'm into Tai Chi, okay, nowadays. Okay, so that actually keep me well exercise. Okay, I think also as we age, okay, and also especially when a lot of us are desk bound in terms of running a business. Okay, like for myself, okay, most of the time I do my curriculum development and also sometimes do Zoom training. Okay, a lot of usage of this laptop. Okay, that's why we need to work on our eyes. Okay, and also need to work on our shoulders. Okay, this 五十肩 or frozen shoulder syndrome that happen a lot to most of us. Okay, especially urban. All of us are living in the urban life, right? Okay, and using laptop, right? Even Zoom, during Zoom, or even after uh, after Zoom, right, I think we need to take care of our shoulder because we are having too much of stiffness in the body. Yeah. And you also you are doing digital marketing. So of course you may not be the one to actually run, but I think most of the guys that will
Slightly
probably
different.
Yeah.
For me, slightly different. I get to go out because I do food delivery. I just go to my F&B shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's still not that bad. Yeah. And yeah, I mean the other thing of course is I largely don't do my own work now.
Yeah, precisely. So because of that, I think for those some of us who are business owner who are desk bound, especially we need to actually exercise our shoulder. Okay, nowadays I always set an alarm, okay, to make sure that I exercise my shoulder. Okay, because this frozen shoulder. The good news is that I managed to recover from my frozen shoulder at least probably 80% to 90%. Okay, last time I can't even reach here. Okay, but now I can reach here.
Do you try the machine gun thing?
No,
I got a machine gun at home. It's actually not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have this massager. Okay,
Yeah.
those the three-legged
Oh
massager.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, the three-legged, that one's looking not too bad. But end of the day, I think we need to do some loosening up of our muscle. Okay, the whole day sitting down, that's not very good. I think some of us wear this iWatch thing. After a while, they will sound a bit. Okay, you definitely need to stand up and just wiggle around before you go back and sit down.
So right now, your training and all those things is still all virtual.
Well, most of them are moving back to physical. So in fact, I have more physical class after the lifting of the measures, the lifting of some of the regulation. That I think I have more face-to-face training now, which well, I think I kind of enjoy it. Okay, because when you have face-to-face, you're able to gauge how the learner responds to your questions, to your sharing. So it's easier for us as trainer to be more dynamic, more animated as well. However, on a virtual, okay, for those HR who insist that they need to on their videos, then of course I can engage. But most of the time, some of this corporate training, that the HR don't insist that they have to keep the video on. And with that, I have the opportunity, unfortunate opportunity, okay, to talk to myself for 8 hours, or maybe 4 hours before the lunch, 4 hours after the lunch, okay, to myself in a blank space. But of course, good thing is once a while, okay, we play some games, we see some of them respond, and on and off, we ask some questions. Some of them will actually respond by unmute themselves. Other than that, it to some people, it might sound uncomfortable talking to yourself for 8 hours. Okay, especially when the camera light is on and nobody is on their video, and you are just have to assume you're running a talk show.
No, but I assume it probably is easier for you because you already have your curriculum set up, right?
Yep.
So one of the biggest problem, like for me, right, I've been, before this stream thing that we are doing, right, been trying to do some videos on my own, and I always find it very difficult, right? Simply, I probably it's like exactly what it is, because I don't have a proper curriculum, I don't have a proper script, so I can't just talk off the fly. I talk off the fly for less than 5 minutes, I'll get stuck. Then there's a very awkward silence to it, then I don't know pick it up. Whereas, right, in a live conversation like this, right, I won't get stuck because I'll bounce it off you. And then when you bounce something back, I can interact, which is why, all along I was telling you previously, I always prefer the live AMA casual kind of banter. It can be about business, can be about life, and about anything in general. But it has this very unfiltered, natural mood to it. And I feed off that kind of environment, I feed off that kind of energy. So for me, I rather do this kind of thing. Like some of the things you do, you'll be preparing a course and then you'll be running a presentation, things like that, right? I can't really do it, if I'm just talking into a camera.
Yeah, that's why I was quite impressed with myself last December. Okay, I was quite impressed with myself last December when CPF, when I actually live, okay, on one of the CPF Digital Fest, and in fact, it's a 2 hours program. Okay, 2 hours. It's a 2 hour on my topic. Okay, 2 hours. In fact, they actually allocate 2.5 hours for me. So I told them, okay, we will leave the half an hour as Q&A. So in fact, it's already a 2.5 hour. While I prepare my PowerPoint, I have no script at all. Yeah. So I'm basically presenting and using my PowerPoint over 2 hours, and And why I was impressed with myself, because I didn't prepare any script. I just prepare a PowerPoint, a set of PowerPoint, and it's live. Okay, it's live. And it was tuned in by 1,000 people. Okay, 1,000 people. And the next presenter was pretty impressed that, hey, you speak with no script. It's so natural. Although there's a set of PowerPoint, but I don't have a script per se. No,
I think in fact I agree with you. Like even there was this presentation I did a few years back for the Lifelong Learning Institute, right? Yeah, I mean all you need is a PowerPoint. I actually agree with you that just having a PowerPoint is good enough, because the speech should come naturally. If you're looking at a script, then it comes out very stiff and wooden. Yeah,
yes.
so I think the script isn't an issue. As long as you have a PowerPoint, I think you're good to go.
And my PowerPoint have a lot of pictures. In fact, okay, because I train presentation, I train pitching, I train communication skill. I even train how do you do a presentation slides. Okay, there's all these principles I actually put inside my own presentation. Okay, I do believe that a lot of us have seen people present with the slides that have a lot of words, so wordy to the point that I can read the slide. I don't need you to read the slide, right?
No, you're exactly right. I always make it a point, right, whereby in my presentation, the words are always bullet point.
Yes.
That's number one. Every slide, no more than 3 points.
Yes, correct. In fact, 3 to 4 points, that's the max.
Right. And I never say the exact words on the PowerPoint.
Yep. So you don't read from the slides.
Yeah, exactly. The whole point is you don't want them to read, because the moment they read from the PowerPoint, they're not listening to you.
Precisely. So because this is a human being, human being. Human being can probably most of us can only focus on one thing at a time. Therefore, I think with a PowerPoint, with pictures, and you share as a story or share as share your point through the pictures in your own words, I think it feels more natural, and I think it come up much more better impact than having first of all having a script which sound unnatural, then having a lot of words on the PowerPoint also not very good. So I think the in between, which is this is the in between portion, and that would be the best way to do presentation. It's more natural, and of course the reason why PowerPoint as a joke, as a joke, is that it's supposed to be power points. Okay, not power paragraph.
I actually never thought of it that way. Okay.
It's power points, so that you elaborate the points. Okay.
That's I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So that's why when people say some presenter is causing death by PowerPoints, and PowerPoint should be script as a program, I beg to differ, because it is always the delivery. Okay, it's always the speaker that makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when I attend, all of us have experience attending conference, and sometimes we just study some of these speakers, some of these presenters. It come very boring, okay, and put a lot of us to sleep. It's because I think at the end of the day, they try to flood too much information into the PowerPoint to the extent that, like what you just mentioned, I lost you. I don't even need to hear you read. I can read myself.
Yeah, some of the best speakers I've seen at conferences, basically they go on stage and they just stop talking. They just start talking, slide or no slide.
Yeah.
They have a story to tell, and they just go out and tell a story, and then I think those are the best ones.
Yeah, those tech speakers, all this, and they don't have slides. Okay, they just tell the whole story.
Yeah.
On and off.
Wait. Having said that, right? But if you are the speaker at a TED Talk, you probably rehearse 1,000 times at home first, lah.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, I see people who who did not rehearse. Yeah, I can tell that this person did not rehearse. Okay,
Oh,
he's
really?
just
I see.
speaking, and very natural. Okay, but I think because the story is very in the person. Okay,
I mean, yeah,
it's a person, it's a very personal story. Therefore, this person okay, don't need a script. But of course, I do agree. If you're going on tech talk, please go and rehearse.
yeah.
And
I mean, if you're,
please go and rehearse.
please be.
Yeah, whether the 10-minute tech talk or
The
well,
other thing,
how
because
long you need to
if I'm not
prepare.
wrong, if I'm not wrong, the localized TED talks, right? Their time tend to be very strict. So you do have to rehearse to make sure that you deliver everything you want to say within that 10 to 15 minute cycle.
Yeah, I think it to me, when you rehearse, you are giving a kind of respect to the audience as well. Yeah. Of course.
I would yeah, I do I would say I agree with you regrettably.
Yeah. So
I do have a problem. I tend to drag because I get excited about what I'm saying, right? And I
yeah,
tend to add more stories. And
yeah,
I tend to
passionate, right?
overshoot. Yeah. I
Yeah.
tend to overshoot always by about 10, 15 minutes.
I think that's because you're passionate and the audience respect that, and it's your story and they want to learn more. I think that's perfectly fine. Even the last November CPF presentation, although it's a 2.5 hour, I have present my PowerPoint for that session there. I do rehearse in terms of the flow of the story, just that I don't rehearse as a script.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah. If I rehearse, I think I feel very robotic.
So what are most of the training that you give these days?
Well, apparently I share with Garen as well just yesterday. Okay, most of the training I'm doing right now are all about preparation for retirement. Yeah, mainly preparation for retirement.
Okay.
Okay, or what you can commonly call retirement planning. But retirement planning is not just a financial subject or personal finance subject. Okay, we're talking about first of all mindset. Okay,
Yeah.
as we age, okay, there are some psychological changes we need to overcome. Okay, ageism is something that we need to actually highlight. We'll talk about, okay, beside the mindset, any motivation we can uncover. Okay, for example, are you looking forward there to retire to do something else rather than retire for the sake of retirement? You know what I mean? Okay, if you have something to look forward to, I think it gives meanings, it gives purpose to that retirement process, right? The retirement journey. Else, most Singaporean, unfortunately, will just retire because it's the age, or yeah, it's the age that I'm 60. It's time for me to retire. I'm 65. It's time for me to retire. Okay, but I think if you have something to look forward to, you anticipate the excitement. Okay, and that's something that, okay, we always encourage some of these retirees to be, okay, or my student, okay, think about what you want to do, what sort of lifestyle in retirement you're going to have. Okay, maybe I want to volunteer with the RC, maybe I want to actually teach people Tai Chi, maybe I want to actually, okay, go around Europe for 1 month with a little bit with some savings, that I can travel and see the world before I come back to Singapore. Of course, right now COVID, you need to be careful. But other than that, okay, have a talk before we just retire like this. You know, you're not going to drop off the cliff in this manner. You see, so you need to plan for it. So that retirement planning is something that it's not just about personal finance topic, but we talk about mindset, talk about motivation, we talk about your response to the changes, okay, going to happen in your work life and your personal life. We also talk about how do you respond, what are the techniques to respond to these changes, and how do you bring back lost relationship. I'm a life coach, so I talk about there are six aspects of life that we need to be aware of, whether you go in retirement or whether you're right now in a certain situation there. You only need to think about the six aspects of life. The first aspect is mental. your mental wellness. Okay, are you doing something to enrich yourself? Are you learning something? Are you looking forward to learn a new knowledge or new skills? Okay. Second, physical wellness. Obviously, just what I mentioned, stay healthy. Okay, we are not getting younger, so we need to stay healthy, especially business owner. Some of us, and I do believe many of us work beyond the normal 9 to 5 job. Okay, 9 to 5 things. Okay, sometimes we have an idea at 11 p.m. and we'll just write down all the things that we want to do tomorrow. Okay, third will be your emotional wellness. Okay, this has something to do with TCM as well, something to do with health as well. Okay, when you're emotionally charged up, say for example, you're overly angry, what will happen? Your heart will have an issue. Then when you're overly sad, okay, when depressed, what will happen? Okay, your liver may actually affect. Okay, so these are something we need to be mindful of. Okay, when it comes to any stage of life, beside retirement. Okay, fourth will be spiritual wellness. Okay, by spiritual, it doesn't mean religion. Okay, it's just having something for you to ground your value system, something for you to actually ground your belief system. Okay, and you feel more purposeful, meaningful with your life. Okay, fifth will be social wellness. We're talking about how to engage with people around you, your family members, your friends, your ex-colleagues, your neighbors, your interest group members, and anyone. Okay, your social wellness. And finally, the sixth, financial wellness, which that is where my years of experience come in to talk about the financial part of planning all the numbers. So with these six things that it encompasses, we actually package it as a form of retirement planning. So it's not just the financial part, there are the other five we will talk about. So that's one thing that's one thing commonly right now I'm training on. Second is remember I talk about purpose. Remember I talk about what you want to do. Some senior, some matured retirees to be, they want to set up some small businesses. Okay, especially last 2 years we heard about a lot of people set up home-based businesses, whether it's bakery, whether it's cooking, which is pretty normal. And some of them want to try their hand during retirement because they have time on their hand. They're willing to actually try out. Sure, no problem. I talk about this entrepreneurship. Okay. The third topic I talk about will be nowadays I talk about some little bit about digital marketing. Okay, because it has to do with entrepreneurship as well. So if you have a good product, if you have the best product in the world, if you cannot market yourself out in the world, you won't get people to buy, or you won't get enough volume to sustain your business. Therefore, in terms of marketing, that is where I will also share some of my experience on marketing. So primarily these are three. The fourth one, nowadays I actually also do a lot of some sharing with communication skills and presentation skills. As you know, if you want to run a business and short of money, what do? You ask for money, right? And you need to do pitching, right? You need to do business pitching. For some startups, some are youth mentees, they need to pitch to some incubators, accelerators, and these places have a lot of VCs. Okay, we're willing to invest in the seed round stage. So they need to actually do how to present. So just want to mention our presentation. Okay, I told them, please don't dump all your head knowledge into that 10 to 20 slides, because there's no way within 3 to 5 minutes somebody who don't know about your business able to cover everything that you know. So you need to be pinpoint accurate. So to bring about the interest area that, hey, I want to find out more from you after these 5 minutes. Let's go for a drink or a chat, okay, after your presentation. Okay, so primarily this is the thing I do.
Okay, sounds really interesting. Especially the retirement part. I didn't know that is something that can be. I didn't know
Yeah.
that's such a popular topic at this point. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that I'm myself thinking about retirement.
In fact, it's no surprise that it's a popular topic. Okay, especially right now, right? Okay, most of Singapore population, we are actually an aging population, and fortunately and unfortunately, okay, being an aging population, we do have an issue, okay, especially when the last few years pre-COVID, we go into digitalization, we go into automation. Some of them are, first of all, fearful of employment opportunity, okay, or continued employment opportunity, okay, and because of that, they're also concerned about their retirement planning because one thing leads to another, right? So that is where uh, yeah, people are really concerned, especially now. In the next 2 years, we're going to expect inflation, right? We're going to expect inflation.
I have a very simple rule in life when it comes to money.
Which is
Just make more than what you are spending.
that's financial independent. That's a formula for financial independent. Okay,
No,
your income must be more than financial independent means your passive income must be more than your expenses.
My point is it's a very simple thing. Don't overcomplicate it. And a lot of people overcomplicate it. Okay? It's a very simple logic. You make more than you spend, right? So it's not so from the get-go, because that is the concept, that's the principle, right? It's not about having a saving plan. If you consistently make more than you spend, you don't technically need a savings plan because you will always have a float, right? So right from the get-go, with this philosophy, you know that I don't buy into the idea of savings. Investment is a separate issue because you're creating revenue generating asset, or you're creating income generating assets. Okay, that brings you more money, that gives you the additional buffer and float. So the real question is, right, how much float buffer you have between how much you're taking in and how much you're going up. With this foundational understanding, right, everything else that you do in life for the purpose of making money, right, then comes into play. Are you working a full-time job? A full-time job is fixed pay. If it's a fixed pay, means your spending is fixed. Are you comfortable with fixed spending? If you're comfortable with fixed spending, then continue to be an employee. There's no harm in doing that. If you're happy, an employee has much less stress than a business owner.
Yep.
So, but of course, the downside of it is fixed expenditure, flatline expenditure, right? Yep. Unless you go into savings, which means you have to reduce your expenditure for a certain period of time to be able to transfer to savings, right? People like us go into business. Why? Because we cannot accept fixed expenditure. We want to be able to roller coaster ride or scale up our expenditure, right? So the only way to be able to do that is I scale my earnings proportionally, or I scale my earnings faster than I can spend.
Yep.
Yeah. So so that understanding, right, will define how you approach making money. I mean, that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we definitely need to actually make more than we spend. KL will be dead. Okay, and you're right on the fixed income, fixed expenses thing. Okay, if you are having a fixed income, then better keep your expenses fixed. Okay. Unfortunately, some people overestimate their capacity and over leverage, and things get into trouble. So if you have of a fixed income, so better fix your expenses. Better fix your expenses. Yeah, so that's why in retirement plan it's not as simple as just looking at the numbers, but also in terms of the psychological changes, physiological changes, all these will matters when it comes to retirement. It's a whole package thing. It's a whole package thing. Take for example, I have seen somebody, okay, who was holding a high position, top management, okay, position of a reasonably big company. Okay, the moment he retired, okay, he felt very lonely. There's something that actually triggers some of my friends' thought as well. Because when he pre-retired, he was in a position of privilege, correct? Okay, CEO of some big organization. So definitely, people need to talk to him to find where the opportunity for collaboration. Okay, but the moment he retired from the position, okay, nobody look out for him. You answer me. Yeah, so he felt lonely. I mean, but part and parcel of life.
No, I mean that's how some celebrities fall into depression, right?
Yeah.
You know, once their heydays are over, nobody recognizes them or nobody, you know, gives a rat's ass about them, and then they just sink into inescapable depression, which is kind of sad, lah. I think it's kind of sad.
Well, the smart one will have legacy planning. Okay, mean to say like some celebrities set up fashion shops, hair salon, some restaurant businesses. So all this to make sure that one day they no longer in the heyday. Okay, yeah, they have something to fall back on. Which is they need to think about it. Else, there are some celebrities, especially the younger one, will just splurge like nobody business. Okay, because they are still young, they still enjoy the fame, but who knows? Anything can happen. Yeah. The smart one will actually plan for the future because they know that as much as possible, they have this short period of time to gain their fame and their wealth. And once it's over, or possibly over. Okay. So those our typical Hong Kong Lao Bukan, they work all the way to 50 years old, like the what's that lady? Anyway, there's quite a number of Lao Si Gu. Okay. They can act all the way to 30, 40 years because they are famous yet not famous. They are the they call it the 绿叶, the green leaf. Yeah. They're not the flower, but they are the famous green leaf. They're moving around to the supporting role. The permanent supporting role.
Yeah. I think entertainment is very fickle. So I mean, you make the best of it if you are lucky, you know, and then put aside some money to grow. I think that's probably the best way for these people. But of course, you know, like I said, you know, when you are at the peak of your career, you think that you know nothing will shut you down. That's where all the fallacy sets in. Yeah,
that's unfortunate for a lot of young celebrities, young entertainers, correct, entertainer. They make most of the money in their 20s, and by the time they reach their late 20s, early 30s, not having enough contracts or projects to fulfill to come in, and then they start to panic.
But you see, it's not just celebrities or entertainers. I mean, even business owners, business operators, solopreneurs, whatever, right? It's actually the same. Like even right now, you talk about the business that you operate, for example, right? You are the coach, right? It's you. So the moment when you decide to step away from it, right? That stops. You know, it just stops. So then the question is, then is forward leap equal Stephen Ong, or forward leap can continue in lieu of Stephen Ong's active presence? A lot of business owners face this problem where, especially you are the one who founded the business, you're the one who built it, right? A lot of times our personal brand is equal to the company brand. And unless your brand is a very bankable brand, right? Like Neil Patel, like who's that guy? Nas Daily, right? I don't know his full, I can't remember his full name. Unless your personal brand is a very bankable brand, right? What happens is the moment when you decide to step away from active duty, right? Your company brand drops because your company brand has always been an extension of your personal brand. And this is what a lot of business owners, right, can't escape. Not say can't wrap their head around, they can't escape. Even some of the consultants or advisors that you know personally, right? They are making the money right now because they are still active. The question is the moment they stop being active, right? Can their practice continue?
Yeah.
Because
So that is a very big question I've been asking myself for years. Okay, so need to systemize the business, need to like what you said, like Nas Daily, that guy. Okay, once he step off, okay, Nas Daily can operate without him. Okay, that's something that been exploring for many years, and that's also a key reason why I step off from the financial service industry. Okay, well, being an agent, whether property or this insurance agent, financial advisor, you're pretty much of a celebrity yourself. Okay, once you get enough clientele. However, at the moment you leave, okay, is there a system to actually fall back on? That is a big question mark.
that is the real problem I see with a lot of business owners, consultants, advisors, whoever. I mean, you name it. You probably have some friends. We ourselves, we are always thinking about this issue because at the end of the day, when we move away, right, do we really still have a residual brand that can continue? I think that's the real challenge.
Yep, correct. So this succession planning issue, which during my times, my later years in the financial service, I was doing some business insurance, corporate insurance. Okay, talk to a number of business owner as well. Okay, which I always like to ask them the questions. If tomorrow or if you're on a trip and you forgot to come back home, okay, there's no flight coming back. Okay, there's no communication. Okay, no handphone, nothing to communicate lah. Okay, basically you can't call back your family lah. Can the business run without you?
Yeah, you see that's the issue, right?
Yeah. Okay, I didn't even say that this person passed on the previous night. Hey, you just lost in the island. Okay, the airplane crash happened. You're the only sole survivor. No communication, no handphone, nothing. How?
Yeah, so it's actually something that needs to be considered and addressed because a lot of people also when they are in the deep of it, right, they bask in the glory of their personal brand. So sometimes they feel invincible. But again, the real question is, if you decide to step away from it, are you able to step away from it? The reality is a lot of people cannot step away from it.
Yeah, that's why when I also keep on reminding myself, okay, when I mean nowadays I still have so many project and assignment, okay. I also ask myself, okay, if I forgot to come back home, stuck in the island there, then what happened? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's and so what happens, right? All these years, right, I've been doing a lot of mini MIA situations. I do a lot of I mean, some of my closer business friends and clients know that this is a habit of mine. I will suddenly go MIA. One thing is to force them to go and find my people instead of come and find me.
Yeah, it's also a leadership. I mean, other than business, if in a corporate environment, it's also a leadership succession issue. So I think a lot of top management and senior management, okay, didn't ask themselves also if one of my subordinate were to be out of picture, can anyone can come and support me, continue what I'm doing, if as effectively and as efficient as the previous one.
So which is why I recently, in view of my retirement objective, right, I've been trying to accelerate my thinking and implementation of certain processes. But over the last few years, I've always been thinking about the McDonald's system. It's world class.
Yeah.
That system is so fine-tuned. You take a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old student who wants to work part-time, you take that person into the kitchen, 1 hour later, he knows how to make a burger.
Yeah.
That's the kind of system that all businesses should emulate.
Yep. I fully agree with that.
The system itself runs the business. Every human is just a tuner inside. The human can move, and next human comes in, but the system remains there.
There was a case that I actually provide some consultation. Okay, an organization. Okay, I also shared this same thing with the person in charge, because he's the head of the whole entire organization. So I share him. If we need to build a system that eventually, okay, all of us are just a small little gear, replaceable gears in the entire system. The system must be built. What happened was he felt very tired, okay, on running the entire organization by his own. Now, mind you, this is well, it's not a big organization there, but it has influence. It has a certain sizable number of staff. So I share if we are out of picture, like the same question I asked just now, if out of picture, who will able to run the show? Okay, let's say you go off 1 week, don't have communication. Okay, he have named a couple of them. Okay, and how far can they handle on their own, such that the system can actually run? Maybe 1 week only, or then we need to retune the system. Make sure that the system able to sustain.
Yeah.
Even without you coming back, and you're here to just to improve or enhance the entire working mechanism.
Yep.
You're the oil, you're the lubricant of all the different gears of the system. Yeah.
So of course, I still have certain VIP clients where my personal touch is unavoidable. But for a lot of customers, right now I tend to avoid direct contact. So thankfully, most of my clients actually have never seen me.
Yeah.
In fact, that's something I'm very proud of. The fact that a lot of my clients have never seen me or even talked to me personally. Yeah. Because that is a demonstration of them buying into the brand rather than buying into me.
Yeah. Okay. And at the same time, where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay, so same thing is and that's why my own training business. Okay, I also go into online material creation. Okay, so that people just simply Udemy, Coursera. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to
Speaking
learn
of which,
something, then just go in and learn something.
Hey, speaking of which, I probably need to talk to you separately on you're definitely more experienced and probably better than me at creating all this. I'm also thinking about converting some of my knowledge and expertise into all this
e-learning material.
E-learning
materials.
I just have I just don't really know where to start.
I thought I gave you a template many
moons ago.
That's pre-COVID.
That's many moons ago. That's many moons ago. Yeah.
So actually, the template is a very standardized template. You just need to fill in the meat, because the skeleton is already there. Okay, very typical like our storytelling. You got an intro, you got a main body, you got a conclusion. Basically, the conclusion are all the learning, the conclusion, the summary of all the learning objective. And then what you want, what's the thing that you want people to learn? Okay, then break it into maybe 3 to 4, or maybe sometimes some individual parts. Then in between, you can test people's knowledge. You can give some teaser, some quiz or summary project or summary questions or assessment. Okay, it doesn't matter. But the thing is that at the end of the day, once you actually have a framework, okay, which most people use the exact framework, even in school also use the exact framework. So once you have a framework, you put in the meat, then you find a platform, converted it into the practical platform way of doing things. Then the next thing, which is the most important thing, is how to market.
The market part, I'm not too concerned. I'm just like, okay, like the materials that you are building, are they downloadable notes, or they are in the form of a video tutorial?
Well, it depends on how protective you are towards your learning materials. Okay, some people have it in PowerPoint. Some people have it in words format, meaning basically you're reading just like any web page. Okay.
Yeah.
Second, another method, some people can use slides. Okay, slides to actually upload on the slides. So it's less copyable, okay, less duplicable. Then there are some people who do video like what we do now, okay, and that is obviously there's no captions, there's nothing for them to duplicate. So this is another way of protection. So it really depends on your format of your whole entire.
I don't know. That's why I'm a bit stuck. That's why I think one of the things why I'm really into this this live stream talk session that we are having, right? Is because every time the live stream is over, it's one video on YouTube, and it really just is, you know, it's a raw input resource that later we can go in if we want to go and from the 2 hours just cut out a few clips. That can become you know, the promo or the marketing trailer or teaser, if you will. Or, you know, if we happen to talk about certain topics during a 2-hour discussion, right, we can actually just cut like that 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and that in itself can be one module already.
Yep. Okay.
You know,
so that's why some people use text, some people use slides, some people use video. So it depends on how protective you are with your learning material. Okay, no hard and fast rule. Okay.
I believe in open book, no secrets.
Yeah. So the thing is, because depend on what's the topic, some need to be contemporary, and therefore even you produce your learning material now in terms of the text, it could be outdated by 6 months or even a year later. Okay, so you need to renew, update. Okay, then you have to actually resell it as an updated curriculum.
Yeah.
Okay. You can add, if you, I mean, there's many ways to slice the cake. Okay, so nowadays I do see some e-learning material that come in terms of videos, okay, but they will have transcript. So the transcript is almost equivalent to your text format. So that could be another way, just like LinkedIn learning platform. They have the video captions as well as a transcript. So if you want to duplicate for your own reference, you can take the transcript and duplicate for yourself. I mean, not duplicate, as in just copy and paste in one Word document for you to easily remember, instead of playing the video over and over again. Sometimes it may not be so helpful. So it depends on your style of learning. In fact, I do need to remind a lot of all these e-trainers that we need to make sure that visually, audioly, and then this textile, okay, textile, okay, to all this must be implemented, okay, all in one, all at the same time, right, through the training material or the e-learning material. Because some people are good at looking at things. That's why video help people to retain knowledge. But not everyone, okay,
nice video, can't be
right?
right.
Yeah, no, not everyone, right, is comfortable with your style of video. Okay, some people, right, do a lot of talking, right? Okay, no animation, nothing, you will fall asleep on video even.
But again, I think
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's why delivery, the word is delivery. So in terms of your video, while most people preference into videos, which is right. Okay. However, just I will mention that in terms of the presentation style, right, some people will put some presenter will put people to sleep because of their delivery. So that's the reason why in terms of video, you need to be very careful. Don't go on and on and on. Okay, then people just knock it off. Okay, so you need to have different style. Okay, in video maybe at this point of time, I have a half body style. Then suddenly it become a full body style. Suddenly it become a face style. Okay, depend on what was the thing. So it gives variation in terms of the visual retention of knowledge. But at the same time, in terms of audio, it's also good to have animation. So within a video itself, if you can switch yourself out and move into animation, put an animation in there for them to have a easy way to retain knowledge instead of just listening to your own voice. That's clearly done. Of course, textile, in terms of textile, okay, people need to write. Maybe you can offer, write doesn't mean that, okay, because virtually you can't really write unless taking notes. You can do interactive quizzes, whereby you set quizzes at online. Okay, this quiz, okay, choose A, B, C, or D. Then you use the mouse, go to that particular location, just select. Okay, that's interactive. So that's tactile as well. Okay, instead of them writing, you use the mouse for it to do some interactive learning material. So you need to engage the learners from the visual, from the audio, and from the tactile point of view. Okay, within the virtual learning environment, your e-learning. That's why it's not a fixated that you die must always do a half face or a half body face video. Not fixed in style. It really depends on the topic. It depends on how you want to be. Not how you plan your movie. Yes, correct. The word is movie. How do you want to plan? Doing an e-learning material is actually thinking about storyboard your learning materials, then create interaction, engagement. Same as your digital marketing, you need to create engagement, right? Okay. Then only then only then they're able to retain. Then only then they're able to share with some people, and hopefully through that sharing, you get more people to pay for your cost.
I think if you talk about digital marketing, I tend to have a very different approach to it because, I mean, first of all, I'm lazy. I don't like to do too many things. So we always look at what are the key areas that can move the needle the most, and then we bang on that. So we really, I mean, if you talk about in terms of we don't like to get ourselves, fancy and spread all over the place. In fact, right, from the statistics that we observe, a lot of the things that are being done, in the name of digital marketing actually don't work. Like, so sometimes we talk to some of our counterparts in other countries, they run ad campaigns, they run marketing campaigns, and so on. The thing is, because when they are running in larger countries, larger markets, right, they have much more data points, and the distribution of their data is more accurate and reflective. So what we see is that a lot of times, in a spectrum of digital marketing platforms, in a spectrum of digital marketing channels and tactics, right, only one or two will always work for a particular business. the trick, I mean, of course, if you don't know which one works, then of course you have to go and try and experiment with each of them. But the objective is to very quickly identify which channel is the one that's really working. Because if you don't identify as fast as possible, you end up wasting a lot of time, money,
correct, and effort. And I agree on that. It's very important that you know your customer first. your who exactly are you targeting? what's their buying journey? Remember the last week we talked about the buying journey. Where do you pinpoint so that like you get you hit them where they will need you this is something like, instead of running all workshop, which I think I still see a lot of furniture. Maybe because I click on something that's why right now all my Facebook ads are all things that relate to furnitures. I'm not buying any furnitures. I just accidentally click on a chair or something.
I was just talking to a industry counterpart last week. We are quite of the opinion that I mean, again, right now, if you're talking about ads on Facebook, the targeting is quite skewed, or rather quite off. It's not as accurate as previously because of all the privacy restrictions and all the things like that, right? So as I said in the last session we had, the best way to think about Facebook ads is just think of it as a TV ad. Run it like a TV ad with the full expectation of the typical consumer behavior and response to a TV ad. I'm not saying that TV ad cannot be effective. It's just that you can't run Facebook ad the way that you run a digital targeted ad 2 years ago. You have to run it like a broad-based TV ad right now. It is becoming a TV medium in that sense.
I think I shared it many years back when PDPA started to, or this Facebook facing all this privacy issue. I shared with a couple of friends that eventually the data will be super inaccurate because people are starting not to share their personal thing, including mine. I don't exactly share my family photos. I don't exactly tell you my personal info in the setting itself. And one of my friends also purposely changed his birthday to 1st of January of his birth year. So that, I remember your birthday is not 1st of January. The whole idea is purposely one. So he actually changed quite a number of things. Instead of married, he actually just ignore that you can link somebody, your spouse as married to who, you don't even want to link it. So anyway,
that one will create unnecessary problem at home.
He actually have the wife consensus because the wife also say fair enough, you don't want to be targeted by all these things, I also don't want to be targeted by all these things, then that's why over time, I did share 2-3 years back, that this Facebook marketing will get more and more inaccurate. But of course, there will be some people, because like what you mentioned, it only happened probably more of the sensitive people like us in Singapore, and even Europe, and even some part of America. But generally, for people who want to share their life story on Facebook, don't mind getting their data to be milked by all the advertisement.
But that's my whole point, you see. Previously, when you talk about audience targeting, you talk about ad targeting, right? A lot of people focus a lot on more focus on demographic, right? Your age, or what location, interest, occupation, income bracket, yada yada, right? So more and more people are wisen up to privacy issues, cybersecurity, hacking incidents, all sorts of funny things, right? So like people like your friends start putting out fake profiles.
Yeah. Exactly.
So my point is, it's going to be more difficult for platforms like Facebook to accurately assess, the audience that your ads, the advertisers' ads are targeting, right? So as an advertiser, as a business, if you you can't avoid advertising on Facebook if your audience is on Facebook.
True.
I mean, if you're B2B, if you're targeting specific industry, maybe LinkedIn, if it's very intense, specific, okay, you can run Google ads, you can do SEO, right? But for a large proportion of businesses that are consumer facing, that are very retail facing, right? You can't run away from Facebook at this point. You know,
Yeah.
At least right now you can't, right?
Yeah.
So then it's on you to understand, given the limitation of the targeting accuracy, how are you going to hack that channel to your advantage, right? And that's why I go back to right now, we have to consider running ads on Facebook like a TV ad.
Yeah.
So when you run a TV ad, what's the hack? The hack is in the creative. The demographic is no longer an accurate measure. So the only way you can be able to understand how to filter or segmentize your audience, right, is through the psychographics, which is hacked through your creative. And again, it feels like a return to the old days of, Mad Men, all the creative, because right now, given everybody is in the same level playing field of the data not being as accurate, right? What really gets your point, what really gets your advertising or marketing across, right, is the ability for your ad creative, right, to speak directly across to the audience.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So the hack is in the creative. The hack is not in the targeting anymore. In fact, some of the campaigns that we have seen that seem to work better these days, right, is you do a broad-based targeting. You don't actually target. You do a broad channeling. Okay, you are running an ad in Singapore, you just put Singapore and what's the age group. That's it. There's no specific interest. There's no other things. But you have different ads with different ad creative, and your creative is the actual instruments that does the targeting and filtering.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, if it's a broad-based targeting, right? Singapore, certain age group, right? If you're targeting specific people, maybe who are more active when it comes to sports, it's reflected in the creative, in the actual content of the ad, rather than your targeting. Yeah, and you filter your audience based on the creative that you put into your ad.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, it become more like DBS. You just spray and pray,
But there's still a method to the madness. Again, certain agencies that have done it enough, they would know that, okay, given this kind of broad-based approach, right, what kind of creative will tend to generate what kind of results. So there are ways, and in fact, again, I was talking to my counterpart, and there are a lot of successes with using short form video ads, but done in a very different creative ways, right? To pinpoint or try to better understand the kind of audience that they can wrap their reach around. Yeah.
So I also try to actually understand some of this hacking method. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because in fact, not yesterday. The night before, I actually attended one webinar. Okay, from a Singaporean guy. I will not name him. Okay, so it's a free webinar. Okay, so he also shares some interesting tricks. Okay, then he pick up something from him. Yeah.
What is free webinar? Got meaning, man?
I find there's quite high value free webinar he actually done.
Okay.
Quite a high value one.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're a newbie, it's tremendous value, but you're still lost. But I'm not a newbie. happen to actually, okay, any Wednesday night happened to be a bit free. So just to, no, I said Tuesday night was happened to be a little free. So I signed up and learn something from him. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
It's a live session or a recorded session?
It's a live session. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a live session. So he actually show a couple of things that he did with his own advertisement. And okay, then some interesting sharing lah. I find it quite high value lah. If even you just pick up one or two things that I think is quite high value.
But can I guess, right? The examples that he showed are not consumer businesses, right?
It's more related to my trade, more rather than
exactly.
My trade. Yeah.
You come across a webinar, right, where their proof, right, is on consumer product or consumer service, right? Okay, then I'll be interested.
In fact, they did share one particular case on how he actually helped a consumer product. So, okay. So, because he was trying to actually relate that, okay, whatever he used on us, okay, my trade, right? Okay, it's still applicable for consumer product. Okay.
What consumer product is
that? Diapers. Diapers. Okay. So I said, okay, that's how you guys create the almost instant success. I said, okay, then 这样的话你就赢了咯。Okay, nothing much to say because it was quite a clever trick.
Diapers, then I probably know who already. But no, the point I'm trying to make is right. I mean, of course, it's their own movie. They set the narrative lah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, right, those results are very stellar, right? Because your trade tends to have good ROI in the first place.
Yeah. So that's right. Correct.
You try running a Facebook ad campaign, right? Okay, on a F&B product. Okay, average item selling price is $25. You try running and give me a positive ROI. Let's see how you do that.
Yeah. So he also explained that the ROI actually can be quite low for some of these things. Obviously, because
but again, for the sake of drumming up the webinar, they always choose service or product where the selling price is already high, so that when you take the collective revenue against the advertising spend, right, the ROI is out of the world.
Yeah, correct.
That's the difference. That's why I say a lot of them actually you put their tactic and strategy into a real world setting, right? Selling a consumer product that has an average selling price of probably just $20, right? You see how well that thing runs. Most of the time you won't. Most of the time you won't run.
Almost guaranteed it's be negative.
Yeah. So that's why I say if you are able to find a webinar that actually runs, because I mean, no offense to, not saying that they are bad. It's just that the kind of things that they teach, right, suitable for certain industries only.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
That's why.
But the majority of
that's why I need to be mindful about that. Mindful of how they target the specific industry.
Yeah, but the majority of SMEs, the majority of businesses are not in those trades. Right? They are in consumer product, they're in consumer goods, FMCG.
Yeah, FMCG.
FMCG, a lot of times these SMEs do not own the manufacturing. Yeah. So the problem is their cost base is high to begin with. They can't run advertising campaigns the way all these so-called, for lack of better, all these so-called gurus are preaching, because they'll burn dry, they'll bleed dry. It wouldn't work. It's not, these so-called strategies and tactics are not forged in reality. This is the problem, I mean, they will be very useful for consultants, coaches, no doubt, advisors, agents, and no doubt, the whole hook and sink approach, no doubt. And probably for some high-end product, like for example, you talk about water filtration system where one unit is $800 to $1,000, right? Sure fly one, sure can one, won't die one, But when you talk about common FMCG, right? It's a very big problem. Most of them couldn't. Yeah.
So being an educated consumer, so I also critical with the chosen examples, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, chosen example. At the end of the day, okay, so this example can work this way. Okay, can. And I mean, I'm also in the marketing industry. So okay, I understand how they choose their target example. I mean, I also use target example as well, correct? So this is part of the trade practices. Yeah, so understandable. But I do admit I learned one or two tricks. Okay, then I think that's enough. That enough value that I brought. I pick up from the webinar itself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Because sometimes sometimes webinar, like yesterday I tuned into one webinar. Wow, I tell you, within although it's planned for 1.5 hours, within half an hour, I just switch it off. Because to me, this guy is basically blatant selling.
Yeah, I think
no value at all.
Exactly. I think it's fine if you go into this kind of webinars, if not for anything, just to keep up with what everyone else is doing, right? Just know the market, right? But I really cannot stand like 45-minute webinar, 10 minutes in, you're telling me your Rex to riches story, your set story, your this and that, and then the whole selling spiel come out, and I'm like, cannot. This one too much. Like,
that is the reason why webinar, right, I will try to avoid the first 5-10 minutes. Okay, first 5 minutes. I won't say 10 minutes. The first 5 minutes.
I mean, there are really those. I mean, I've come across so many, right? Where 45 minutes webinar, right? 30 minutes selling.
Yeah, I also been there.
That one really crazy.
I just switch off for that.
Yeah.
So there are, because normally the 1.5 hour to 2 hour webinar, right, they're supposed to give a little bit, more value than this type of half an hour, 45-minute webinar. They supposed to give more value to sustain people attention, But I came across some of this within half an hour. I know that okay, cannot. There's no value. There's no value for me. I might as well don't waste time. I just go and do my own thing, because whatever he shared, I know. And even I don't know, I can Google.
Yeah, no. So when I see a webinar where 3/4 or 4/5 of it is selling, right? You kind of know that they don't have much in their tank already, You get me, not?
Yeah.
Yeah, the knowledge depth is actually not there.
Yeah. 偏吃偏喝.
Otherwise you could have given a lot more, and in your actual paid whatever, you still have a lot to give.
Yeah, correct. It's like you what's the Chinese saying? 吊胃口咯. Okay, I give you 30%, but the 70% you will come to my court. Okay, fair enough. Okay, this one, okay, I learned your 30%. Okay, I still got this. I want to know the whole package thing. Okay, then fair enough. That one is, I think that is given. Okay, but
when you're only 10 minutes,
you give me only 10% or even less than that. Okay, forget it. Okay, let's switch off. Like yesterday, okay, forget it. Okay, there's no value at all. Okay, we're talking about like what you say, all this what sad story. Okay, forget it. Okay. But of course, for us, we are educated consumer we are different okay, we can identify the selling pattern, not buying pattern, selling pattern. The selling pattern. Okay, and even sometimes, okay, okay, for For the Tuesday, the guy I just shared, okay, well, it's actually more applicable to consultant and consultant coaches, coaches and trainers, right? For insurance, it can be quite challenging to have to try the method as well. Because as you know, the perceived image, okay, is already not there. Yeah, already a little bit more on the negative side. So that's why they can be a bit challenging for them to bring up to mark.
Well, actually, you know what? Before COVID, there's an financial planner came and talked to me and asked for some branding and marketing advice on how to market and brand their agency. And yes, the problem is there, like what you say, there's a general perception of this industry that veers more towards the negative, right?
Yeah, you need to break it. You need to break that. You need to break that.
I think the main problem is what I know. And I told this guy who came and talked to me, the main problem with this industry is, right, every single financial planner, every single insurance agent, right, is not walking the talk. From a marketing standpoint,
Okay, I cannot use the word every lah. Okay, that's a sweeping statement.
Vast majority. But I'm saying strictly to the marketing perspective. I'll give you an example. Every financial planner, every insurance agent, when you talk to them, they will tell you that they're different. Every single one. Invariably, I never come across one who say something else. Every single one will say, they're different. I'm different, And you know what they mean by different? They will tell you, I'm not just selling investment. I'm not just selling insurance. Financial planning is much more. That's always the line that they say. Okay? And they'll quote you examples of why they are different. The problem is the person hearing it for the 20th time, right? It's not different. When every guy tells me that they are different, they are not different, they're all same. Okay? They are same in the sense that they keep telling me that they are different. But the reason, the justification they use to justify why they're different is all the same justification. You get what I'm saying? Every one of them use the same justification to say that they're different. Then you're not different.
Yeah.
You think you are different, but to a consumer, to someone hearing it for the 20th time, you're not different. That's number one. Okay, so they must have gotten the script somewhere. Everybody got the same script, right? Okay, that's one. Second thing is, okay, you say you're different, whatever, right? Problem is, all the marketing actions, all the publicity actions that you do, right, is the same with everybody else. Like this guy was telling me, okay, we are different, we take financial planning very seriously, there's a certain methodology, whatever you tell me doesn't matter. I go to your website, I go to your Facebook, I go to your social media accounts, and I see all these, right? What do I see? I see motivational quotes. I see inspirational speech. I see all the sharing about your agency team building. I see your retreat in some nice resort. I see a lot of those Instagrammable, wealth creation, aspirational things.
But what's their marketing goal? Is for recruitment
No, they're trying to project this successful, wealthy, wealth creation, high living lifestyle that they achieve because of their belief in providing this financial service.
Okay.
You get what I mean? But isn't that the same exact spiel that every single insurance agent, every single financial planner is doing?
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point. You get me? It's the same as every MLM that comes to you and tell you, we are a different MLM. We are not a pyramid. our product value, blah, blah, blah. They can tell you all the things, but you look at their marketing materials. It's the jet plane, it's the sports car, it's the retreat, it's the cruise. Every single marketing visual that is being put out, right, is the same with everyone else. So when you are putting out a visual front that's same with everyone else, nobody is going to believe that when you say you are different.
Yeah, true.
That's my whole point about a lot of, don't say everyone, like you said, but that's the whole point. My whole point about most of the insurance agents and financial planners, because they will tell you that they are different. But you look at the things that they project to the market, it's not different. So when you project a certain thing to the market that's the same with every single other financial planner and insurance agent, right? And then you verbally tell me that you're different, right? You think I will believe or not? So it's a perception disconnect. And that to me, that's the fundamental problem. You want to brand yourself differently, then make sure you brand yourself differently.
Yeah, that's something that I always share, in the past with some of my ex-colleagues. Okay, need to brand differently. I also say, no different from the other 15,000 people.
Exactly. Everybody show me your nice car. Everybody show me your nice Rolex that you buy. So then you tell me you're different. You are different in what sense?
I wear casino.
Yeah.
Casino. There's a cheap watch like Chan Chun Sing carry. Okay.
So,
then don't wear gold ring. Then drive typical car. Okay, that will be different now.
So to me, that's a fundamental problem. Yeah, exactly. So you that's what. So a lot of times people don't understand. Like, they keep thinking that if they say enough, people will believe. No, you might believe in it, but the audience who look at it, right, wouldn't be able to register because it's a disconnection.
Yeah, that actually brought me to something that I mentioned to one of my ex-colleagues a couple of months back. Okay, I share with her that I think it's high time for financial advisor, insurance agent. Well, all of us are in running business, whether you're self-employed or whatever, it's still running business. So it's high time for us to look into this thing called design thinking, business model canvas for financial advisor. Okay, design thinking is talking about, okay, it's all about to find out the pain point of your customer, almost equivalent to your customer journey map. But at the same time, okay, when I stepped into the industry many years back, okay, I was not taught to do a business model canvas. Of course, you can argue that business model canvas only came out just the last 15 years ago. Okay, but I don't think anybody advocate this business model canvas to do for financial planning business. Okay, at the end of the day, okay, you can use this business model canvas to really plan out who are the target audience. Okay, although you can argue that everybody needs insurance, everybody needs financial planning, but exactly there are 15,000 of financial advisor, insurance agent out there. What made you stand out? So you need to find the target audience that can help you to have your USP brought out so that you continue to serve a particular group of target audience, which I think is quite lacking from the financial planning aspect.
I understand what you're saying, and yes, in a way, yes, a lot of them. If you ask any insurance agent or financial, whoever needs insurance, I mean, they will tell you their mission is to help as many people as possible. Sure, very, very noble of you, but from a branding perspective, it's dead wrong.
Correct, and that is where I was quite subtly telling her that, hey, look, you need to actually relook into this business model canvas for your own financial financial planning practice, because you cannot serve everyone.
Yeah, you can't. It just doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, precisely. That's why I said, hey, you don't serve anyone. First of all, it's inefficient. Second, not everybody want your pattern. Okay. And third, what you rightfully said, you can't brand yourself. You can't brand yourself. Okay. What's so unique? What's so unique about you?
And in insurance, there are so many ways to differentiate. I'll give you a couple of examples. Last time I know someone, right? He's an insurance agent. His whole philosophy, right, is no matter what insurance you think you need, you start with personal accident.
Okay.
that is his spin. No matter what insurance you need, we can talk about other insurance later. You come and talk to me about insurance. First thing I will tell you is, first thing I'll ask you is, you got PA or not? Don't have PA, buy PA. It's as simple as that. 他就是卖一个 personal accident 就搞定了。
Well, I think I can answer that. How the intention? Okay, I can guess the intention. I'm not
intention. I mean, we don't talk about intention. My point is the branding is very precise. Yeah. Because he only talked about one thing and one thing only. 其他东西你有 needs, okay, 我们可以慢慢讲。Don't care. That one is not important. But the thing is, the branding is very, very precise. The branding is very, very niche. So when you think about personal accident, you think about him. That's it. He will corner the entry point for personal accident. As simple as that.
So just like one of my ex-colleagues long time, he started off just doing car insurance.
Yeah.
And he's an expert in or rather he is known to be a expert car insurance agent within Punggol Sengkang area. Because what happened is the new estate, he really very good luck. Okay, super good luck, right? Almost every night he go and distribute flampers across most of the this car park within these two. So he only do these two area. Okay, he only do one product. Okay, and then like what like your this person only do one particular range of product, right? And for this ex-colleague of mine, he become famous because of that also. Within a company, within his clientele. And when you think about, okay, I need to actually renew my car insurance. Oh yeah, this guy hover around this area one.
So there is a way to niche, even in industry like insurance and financial.
Precisely, that's why I also was sharing that within such a industry, you need to break the what I call, just how I mentioned that the usual everybody do everyone's thing. Okay, end of the day, what's so unique? But I sell char kway teow. I got a lot of char kway teow people also. Like, what make my char kway teow so unique in Ang Mo Kio? Okay, because I use whatever like my favorite is chai dao kueh. Okay, my wife knew that at almost every hawker center I visit, I will try the chai dao kueh, the black one. Okay, then I will share. This one too wet. This one tastes nice. Okay, got more egg. This one I will patronize. Typical branding lah. Yeah. I think more people coming to business should build their brand, even though it's within such a mass market.
Branding is the first thing. Think about the brand, then the marketing. Everything else follows after the brand. If you don't get your brand right, you can get money coming in, but you're just trading dollars, because the moment you stop your selling, the moment you stop your marketing, nobody remembers you.
Correct. Yes, you're perfectly right. Yeah. So yeah. this is something that I think okay, after so many years, I also try to actually advocate this to my ex-colleagues. Yeah, that hey, we cannot be everyone to everybody. We need to find a niche. Then okay, through this business model canvas, you try to actually do up your niche and focus all your effort, your time, your branding, okay, with this particular niche. And anyway, you can study your own clientele, what type of pattern of client are you serving or more comfortable with. Then you feel good, right? Then become more effective. Then do you want to serve 1,000 clients? No, I don't think so, right? You rather serve maybe 100 clients that give you high sales volume. I mean high business volume. Okay, then it save a lot of the work running all workshop.
For a service business like ours, right? It's very easy for us to think in terms of, you do you want to have 1,000 clients, or do you want to have 1,000 clients paying you 100 every month, or do you want to have 10 clients paying you 10,000 every month?
You know?
The amount is the same, but the you might as well get the ones who are willing to pay, and then you just focus on doing the best you can for those 10 clients at $10 each.
And it help, yeah, and it help in branding. At the end of the day, okay, word of mouth, okay, they within their circle of friends of the same pattern, birds of a feather flock together, right? Okay, they probably get a very strong brand recognition.
Yeah.
So that's why nowadays I also advocate, which I think that if I were to come out of this business model canvas for financial advisor, I probably I may not be the pioneer, but I may be one of the first few to help people doing this.
Cool.
Yeah. But because I do see the beauty of having a business model canvas set up for running like what I said, the branding. You start off doing that, then the marketing come later. Then you establish yourself. Okay.
I guess with that, we probably should end today. Again, we keep exceeding with every session. My God, at this rate, by the fourth or fifth session, will probably become a midnight talk show. Then that is very wow.
Okay lah. I need to do more editing really.
No, like I said, there are really some live shows that just goes on for hours and hours and hours. People come in and out, in and out. I mean, once you get to a point where we have some of our friends joining in, right? Even from other countries and different time zones, it will be a very weird, surreal, but very, very interesting kind of conversation, really.
Definitely look forward for that eventually.
Okay, so with that, I think that's the end of our session today, and catch you again